Imagine waking up each day feeling like a prisoner, not of walls or chains, but of your own mind. Every word of criticism, every minor inconvenience, every flicker of doubt gnaws at your calm like an invisible enemy. You try to hold it all together, but the weight of the world, the constant noise, the relentless pressure is crushing. Why does it feel like the smallest things unravel us? Why does a careless remark sting so deeply? Why does the flood of opinions, judgments, and endless distractions make our minds a battlefield? The answer is simpler and darker than you might expect. What if I told you that most of what bothers us isn't real, not in the way we believe, not in the way we let it control us, because deep down, the pain, the frustration, the rage, these aren't natural reactions. They're learned responses, shadows cast by a fundamental illusion. The illusion of control. The ancient Stoics called it apatheia, not apathy as we know it, but a state of serene freedom from destructive passions. Marcus Aurelius, the warrior emperor, faced wars, betrayal, and death, yet taught that true power lies in mastery over one's mind, not in the chaos of external events. Similarly, Eastern philosophies speak of detachment, not to numb the heart, but to unshackle it from illusions. Acting as if nothing bothers you isn't about suppressing emotions or becoming cold. It's about reclaiming your sovereignty over the only thing truly yours, your mind. Because the truth is, when you learn to act as if nothing bothers you, you stop being a hostage to circumstances beyond your control. You step into a quiet rebellion against the chaos. A rebellion not loud or violent, but internal, profound, and unshakable. So ask yourself, what if you could train your mind to let go of the trivial, the toxic, the manipulative? What if your emotional freedom was not a distant dream, but a skill to be learned? In the chapters ahead, we will journey through history's hidden manipulations, the secrets of your brain's emotional warfare, and the societal traps designed to keep you bothered, all to reveal how to become truly unshakable, because the world wants you agitated, distracted, and controlled. But you can choose to be different. You can choose to act as if nothing bothers you. Throughout history, one truth remains constant. Those who seek power understand the human mind far better than most of us realize. They know that the key to control is not brute force alone, but something far more subtle. Our emotions, our vulnerabilities, our very sensitivities. From the grand empires of antiquity to the sprawling media conglomerates of today, power has thrived by exploiting what bothers us, by turning our fears and anxieties into tools of manipulation. Consider ancient rulers who wielded fear as a weapon, fear of the unknown, fear of divine wrath, fear of social exile. They knew that a populace gripped by fear is easier to command, easier to fracture. Shame and guilt were no less potent. In many societies, violating unwritten social codes brought not only punishment but emotional torment, a powerful form of control that kept entire communities in line. Fast forward to the 20th century, and propaganda emerges as a refined science of emotional warfare. During times of war and political upheaval, governments mastered the art of amplifying outrage and distrust. They framed enemies as existential threats, fueling anger that drowned out reason. Citizens were encouraged to direct their anxieties outward, distracting them from the structures of power that shaped their lives. Censorship, too, was not just about silencing dissent, but controlling the emotional climate. What could be spoken? What could be felt? In our modern era, this legacy has evolved, but not vanished. The digital age has weaponized sensitivity like never before. News cycles spin faster, headlines scream louder, and social media algorithms amplify outrage for clicks and shares. Sensationalism feeds a culture where being bothered is almost expected. It keeps us locked in emotional reactivity, vulnerable to manipulation by corporate interests, political agendas, and social influencers. Being easily upset, offended, or enraged isn't just a personal flaw. It has been cultivated as a societal condition, a means to an end. The more divided and emotionally charged a population becomes, the easier it is to govern, to distract, and to control. Understanding this historical pattern reveals a stark truth. Our emotional reactions are not always ours alone. They are often shaped, triggered, and amplified by forces beyond our immediate awareness. This realization is both unsettling and empowering. It challenges us to question not just what bothers us, but why. Who benefits from our anger, our fear, our outrage? To break free, we must first see the shadows cast by power systems across history, shadows that stretch into our very minds. Only then can we begin to reclaim control, not just over our emotions, but over the very systems that seek to manipulate them. To understand what it truly means to act as if nothing bothers you, we must first look inward, into the complex machinery of the human mind. This is where psychology offers profound insight, revealing how our brains and emotions are wired, not just to react, but to survive. At the heart of this is emotional regulation, the mental ability to manage and respond to emotional experiences in a way that is adaptive rather than overwhelming. It's not about erasing feelings or pretending they don't exist. Instead, it's about mastering how to experience emotions without becoming enslaved by them. One powerful technique the mind uses is called cognitive reappraisal. This is the act of reframing a potentially upsetting event, changing how we perceive it so that its emotional impact lessens. For example, viewing criticism not as a personal attack, but as an opportunity for growth can neutralize feelings of anger or shame. Neuroscience explains this through the dynamic between the amygdala, the brain's fear and threat detector, and the prefrontal cortex, responsible for reasoning and self-control. When the prefrontal cortex exercises its power, it tempers the amygdala's alarm bells, allowing us to stay calm even when provoked. Acting as if nothing bothers you is in many ways the conscious activation of this emotional braking system. But why is this so important? Because chronic emotional reactivity, the state of being constantly bothered, offended, or enraged, exhausts the brain's resources. It hijacks attention, impairs decision-making, and strains social relationships. Over time, it leads not just to mental fatigue, but social dysfunction. People caught in this cycle find themselves trapped in reactive loops, unable to focus on what truly matters. Real-life cases illustrate this vividly. Consider individuals who, through trauma or stress, have developed what psychologists call emotional armor, a protective stance where outward indifference shields fragile inner worlds. Far from being cold or detached, this armor allows them to navigate hostile environments without being overwhelmed. Psychological experiments support this too. Studies have shown that individuals trained in mindfulness or cognitive behavioral techniques can reduce their emotional reactivity, improving resilience and well-being. This is not about denial, but about selective engagement, choosing where and when to invest emotional energy. Acting as if nothing bothers you, then, is a sophisticated survival strategy. It's emotional armor forged in the crucible of life's challenges, designed to protect mental clarity and preserve autonomy. Yet, it is crucial to understand that this armor is not impenetrable stone. It allows for connection, empathy, and passion, but on your terms, not dictated by external chaos or internal turmoil. In a world engineered to provoke, mastering this inner equilibrium is not weakness, but a radical act of strength. It means reclaiming the power to decide what affects you and what you let pass like water over stone. By understanding the psychology behind this, we see that emotional indifference is not apathy. It is resilience. It is clarity. It is freedom. And it is a skill, one that can be developed, refined, and ultimately mastered. To act as if nothing bothers you can be easily misunderstood. In a world that prizes emotional expression, where outrage often signals engagement, indifference can appear as apathy, a withdrawal from responsibility, a dangerous passivity. But this is the paradox. Is emotional detachment a form of surrender? Or can it be a subtle, powerful form of resistance? Critics argue that refusing to be bothered risks moral disengagement. If you don't react, if you don't take a stand, are you not complicit? Are you not allowing injustice, manipulation, or decay to flourish unchecked? These are valid concerns. Yet the story is more nuanced. Genuine resilience, the ability to remain steady in the face of provocation, is not about indifference to suffering or injustice. It is about refusing to be consumed by the emotional chaos engineered by those who benefit from division and outrage. History offers examples of this quiet resistance. The philosopher Albert Camus spoke of the absurd hero, who confronts a meaningless and hostile world not with despair, but with defiant acceptance. This acceptance is not passive. It is a refusal to be broken by the forces that seek to control. Similarly, critical theorists argue that hyper-emotional, performative outrage often becomes a tool for spectacle, a distraction from meaningful change. In a society addicted to emotional highs, detachment becomes a revolutionary act, a way to reclaim one's agency and clarity. Acting as if nothing bothers you then can be a refusal to play by toxic social rules. It's a way to break free from the performative culture of outrage, the endless cycle of being offended, outraged, and exhausted. This form of emotional sovereignty challenges the social expectation that our worth is measured by how strongly we react. Instead, it invites us to choose our battles wisely, to invest our emotional energy in causes and relationships that truly matter. It exposes the performative nature of much social discourse, where outrage is currency and sensitivity is weaponized. In this light, indifference is not apathy. It is strategic detachment, a conscious choice to not be drawn into emotional manipulation. This choice requires courage, the courage to stand apart from the crowd, to withstand criticism, and to embrace solitude if necessary. It is a radical freedom, a personal rebellion, against a culture that seeks to keep us agitated and divided. By embracing this paradox, we reclaim control not just over our emotions, but over the social dynamics that seek to control us. We learn that sometimes, not caring in the prescribed way is the strongest way to care, for ourselves, for truth, and for change. In today's world, the battleground for our minds is no longer just personal or political, it is digital. Social media platforms, designed to connect us, have become intricate machines that feed on our emotional reactions. What was once a tool for communication has evolved into a culture of outrage, division, and relentless provocation. Algorithms meticulously track what triggers us, what makes us angry, scared, or offended, and then amplify those signals to keep us engaged. Every notification, every headline, every heated comment is engineered to spark a reaction. The more agitated we become, the more content we consume, and the more profits flow to those who control these platforms. But this constant emotional stimulation comes at a steep cost. The very technology that promises connection often deepens our isolation, fractures our communities, and erodes our capacity for critical thought. We are caught in feedback loops of outrage, where trivial conflicts balloon into major crises, and nuanced conversations are replaced by shouting matches. In this environment, learning to act as if nothing bothers you is not a luxury, it is a survival skill. It means training your mind to recognize when you're being manipulated, to step back from the emotional chaos, and to choose your engagement carefully. Experts warn that unchecked emotional reactivity online can lead to burnout, anxiety, and a distorted perception of reality. Studies reveal that users who maintain emotional distance tend to navigate social media more healthily. They avoid the traps of sensationalism and maintain clarity amidst the noise. But detachment doesn't mean disconnection. It means setting boundaries, knowing when to mute the noise, when to disengage, and when to focus on meaningful interactions. Practical techniques abound, curating your feed to minimize exposure to toxic content, practicing digital mindfulness, and prioritizing real-life relationships over virtual drama. These strategies help preserve mental space and foster resilience. Ultimately, the digital age demands a new kind of emotional armor, one that protects us not just from personal attacks, but from the engineered outrage designed to fracture our attention and sow discord. Acting as if nothing bothers you online is a revolutionary act of self-preservation and clarity. It's the ability to swim against the current of digital noise, to reclaim your mental autonomy in a world that profits from your agitation. In a culture addicted to outrage, indifference becomes a form of power, a way to remain grounded, thoughtful, and free. Mastering the art of acting as if nothing bothers you is not about becoming cold or disconnected. It is instead the cultivation of emotional sovereignty, the ability to choose where your attention and energy go and where they don't. Throughout history, thinkers like the Stoics taught that true freedom lies in mastering the inner world. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that we cannot control external events, only our responses to them. Similarly, Buddhist philosophy speaks of mindfulness, a practice of observing thoughts and emotions without attachment, allowing us to see them clearly, without being overwhelmed. Modern psychology echoes these ancient truths. Techniques such as cognitive behavioral therapy help us identify and challenge the automatic thoughts that fuel unnecessary distress. Mindfulness meditation trains the brain to pause, to observe, and to respond rather than react. But emotional sovereignty also requires social wisdom. It means setting firm boundaries, learning to say no to emotional entanglements that drain you, and yes to interactions that nourish your soul. It means practicing selective engagement, deciding which battles deserve your passion and which are better left untouched. Imagine your emotional energy as a precious resource. You wouldn't spend it recklessly, yet many of us give it away freely, to moments and people who neither deserve nor value it. Stories abound of those who transformed their lives by reclaiming this energy, choosing silence over argument, calm over chaos, and presence over distraction. They act as if nothing bothers them, not because they feel nothing, but because they have learned what truly matters. This mindset is a shield and a sword. It protects against the barrage of petty provocations and directs your focus toward what genuinely enriches your life. By cultivating this skill, you reclaim your mental space, your peace, and ultimately, your freedom. It is not a journey of detachment from life, but a deeper engagement with it, on your own terms. You become unshakable. The journey we began in a mind weighed down by chaos now finds its resolution in quiet strength. The person who once felt overwhelmed by every slight, every judgment, every wave of frustration has transformed. They have learned to act as if nothing bothers them, not by denying their emotions, but by reclaiming control over them. This transformation is not a surrender, but a revolution, a quiet revolution within. It is a rebellion against the endless attempts by the world to provoke, to manipulate, to control. By mastering emotional sovereignty, they have disrupted the cycle that once held them captive. This strength redefines what it means to be powerful. It is not loud or violent. It does not demand attention through anger or outrage. Instead, it is steady, calm, and profoundly freeing. In a world designed to keep us agitated and divided, this inner freedom is radical. The power lies not in controlling what happens around us, but in controlling how we respond. This choice, this mastery of self, is the ultimate act of resistance, and it is available to anyone willing to learn. So now the question is no longer what bothers you, but how you will choose to respond. Will you surrender to the noise and chaos, or will you embrace this quiet revolution within and live as if nothing truly bothers you? The path is not easy, but it is transformative, because in mastering yourself, you master your world. And that is the greatest freedom of all,